Hello and welcome to a new episode for WCN TV. I did an solo episode a couple weeks ago, highlighting some recent new arrivals to the distro, things that I thought were interesting, that I liked, that I wanted to talk about. And in the Discord, someone suggested that I do an episode about which items from my personal collection I'm keeping, because this has kind of been a thing I've been processing live through the podcast all year. Basically, is the fact that I brought this big collection that was my personal noise collection from 2007 to 2015 before I moved to Germany. It was in storage in Minneapolis for about 10 years, and I just last year with the shop brought it over, and wasn't sure how to handle it. I kind of had this imagination originally. I hadn't my long time over here, I've always had it in the back of my mind. Like, I have this amazing collection, all this stuff. And when things get brought up on the podcast or whatever, I'm always like, oh yeah, I have a copy of that. I have a copy of that. Can't wait to listen to that again. Can't wait to see that again. And I wasn't sure how I'd handle it, getting it over here. Initially, I thought, oh, I'll just keep everything and it'll be my library, and I'll listen to it all again and feel the same way about it all again and everything like that. And then I'll have it here in the shop that when people come in person, they can pick through and grab something. But otherwise, I'll kind of keep it offline and just, that wasn't, that hasn't been practical or even desirable for many reasons. It's turned out, it's like I have this space that is kind of this impossible dream to do this podcast and to work on the label and everything like that in a physical retail rented space, and that's a tough thing to maintain. So when I have this massive collection of valuable, good, rare noise, I can't be totally precious about selling it. It's like, it's in some way, it's in many ways, actually, it's been a huge blessing to have it, because I took this project on, this rent on, this whole thing on, without a real financial plan of how I'm going to make it work. Besides that, Patreon, is a decent, stable source of income that kind of has the potential to grow. But I don't know. It was just like, well, I'll do it. And so this collection has actually been really key in sustaining this project here for this first year. So it, not just because of the need for money, but also just kind of like, I don't know, a reconnection with the past and these things that I had a lot of personal connection to, and realizing that a lot of that has changed, and my ear has changed, my interests have changed sonically, and also just, I've always been very critical of people who are involved in noise beyond being just an artist, but like as a label, or doing something that has to do with the spreading of it, or I don't know, networking of it, who seem to have a disinterest in noise, who don't like it, or you don't listen to it. I've always been a little bit skeptical of that. And I want to make sure that people understand that's not the situation here at all. It's more that I've just been, there's only so much I can listen to, and I have real needs to make this happen, to make this podcast happen, and make the label happen, and my own personal connection. I've been working on, loosening that grip, and it's been good. However, I am keeping some things, and it's kind of an arbitrary stack, and it's small and could get smaller. A lot of this stuff is just, there's a CD here that kind of exemplifies how I'm feeling and kind of the reality of this situation here. I'll get to it later. I'll find it. But it's stuff that I am keeping for a number of reasons. Kind of a balance between just objective favorites, things that do things sonically or musically that nothing else does or rarely other does. Things that change the way I thought about sound and noise. Single things from favorite artists. Some are artists I collected a lot of, and I'm not keeping, all 20 or 50 releases by certain artists that I loved. More like, one or two. So that's kind of how this collection works. And then, the